Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have The Sound of Music. This is a 20th Century Fox film, acquired by Disney, of course, and this is from 1965. It's 2 hours and 56 minutes long. It's a big movie. It's a big musical. It is a historic musical, and historic musical. It is big in many, many ways. There's I kind of forget as they were going through each of these songs how many of the songs I already knew, and I don't think I've ever seen the film. At least not all of it. I've seen bits and pieces of it, presentations of the music in other ways, just clips and things like that, but never the whole thing in one sitting. So yeah, I'm late to the game. Despite the fact that there's plenty of screenings around here that happen throughout any given year, especially at the Hollywood Bowl here in Hollywood. I'm not in Hollywood, but general area. It's They do big sing along concerts. It's a big deal. People are passionate about this film, and I finally understand why. It's got all the songs you've ever heard. Pretty much, minus maybe one or two, are just iconic. The hills are alive with the sound of music. It's Do Re Mi and uh, just. My brain's not connecting all those things, but Edelweiss, geez, and just farewell, goodbye, that kind of all those songs, which I don't have the proper titles to in my brain, but you can sing them, and I'm not going to sing them. One, for copyright reasons, and two, you don't want to hear that. So, yeah, this takes place in late 1930s Austria, and you know what's coming in the late 30s in that part of the world. Yeah, yeah, but they don't touch on that too much. They hint at it early on, and pepper it throughout. About an hour in, one of the characters gives a salute to Hitler. Not in song, he just does, what they do. I'm not going to do it because it's out of context and it's just weird. And it's reprehensible. Done by reprehensible people. But this is it's a big musical. It's a big romance. It's about a nun played by Julie Andrews. You know her. She's Mary Poppins. She's so many other things, but she is iconic actress. Keep saying iconic. I know, but there's no other way to really describe this film. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are, but that's the one I'm coming up with right now. Anyway, Julie Andrews singing and dancing her way right from the very beginning of the film. Like, before the titles come up or anything else, she's up on the grass and she's spinning around and having a great old time. Maybe I looked away and I don't remember this scene, but I guess, oh yeah, they were wearing those outfits, so I must have glanced away. I had this on while I was working on other things because I just don't have 3 hours straight in a day. Okay, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I saw it twice this week, but still, that was in the theater, and really didn't have a choice. I couldn't be working on stuff, unlike other people using their phones while watching a movie. I don't like to distract myself when I'm in a movie theater, and I paid $24 to see it. So that's LA prices. Anyway, at home I can work on stuff, but I found myself being drawn away from that work repeatedly throughout this screening because I kind of wanted to put scenes with the songs that I've heard repeatedly throughout my life, and it's pretty dang amazing. And even when there's not music on the screen, one of the things I really enjoy is just how much the camera is used to appreciate the Austrian countryside. Not just nature, the hills are alive and everything else, and the skies and the mountains and everything else, but the architecture. I love the architecture, just the cities and everything else. When Maria, Julie Andrews, leaves the nunnery, the convent. She's a nun, and she's trouble. She's always in trouble. There's a problem with Maria. What do you do with a problem like Maria? Well, the nuns decide, hey, you know what? It's time for you to leave for a little bit. We're going to give you a job in taking care of, as a governess to 7 troublesome kids who are living with their widowed father, former captain in the Austrian Navy. And of course, while she's making her way out of the convent and into, I guess, not Strasbourg? No, I don't know. The like the capital of Austria, that just the cities of Austria, you get to see the statues, and they shoot it so wide, and she it's just there's so many different. It's just freaking gorgeous, and it's one of her least memorable songs, but it's still just as she makes her way through the city and then into the countryside to the big mansion where this very rich Navy captain lives. Something she's never been a part of before. She owns one dress, and that was everything else was given away to the poor when she became a nun. She has just one dress, and she's now in a mansion, and she's about to deal with seven really obnoxious kids who are obnoxious because they want attention from their father. But that's she's far from the first person they picked. There many have quit before she arrived, and kind of with a little bit of Mary Poppins kind of attitude. She's naive about handling kids, but also wise enough to learn from her experiences as being troublesome herself that how to handle these kids. And they're in a lockdown life. They do not have fun. They don't play. Dad is compensating for the loss of his wife by really locking down the house. No fun, no music, no joy. Just do your chores, do what you're responsible to do, be on time, and that's it. He's brokenhearted. He seems like a mean guy, but you kind of realize that Christopher Plummer, the captain, is a man who is dealing with loss, and the most difficult. It's really difficult for him, and the most easy way to deal with it is to create rules and to lock everything down. Even that means taking away the joy from his children, who probably remind him, especially his daughters, remind him of his late wife. So, yeah, of course, this is also a romance. So even though she goes in there, Maria goes in there with no intention of falling for the captain, you know what's going to happen. Even though he is about to probably marry a very rich baroness, and yeah, just combine the wealth. One of my favorite characters in this is Max, played by Richard Hayden. He's if this was made today, like if it could be made today in this framework, he would have probably been a gay character. Because he's flamboyant enough that he's trying to he plays the crowd. He plays anybody he's with. He's very open about how he likes to use his friend for his wealth and home and great food and drinks and everything else. But he's also a business manager when it comes to getting new acts performing competitions and on the stage and other places. So yeah, he then of course once Maria teaches the kids how to sing, and well, he notices this, and he gets to be kind of a manager of sorts to get them to perform live eventually. It's a very small part of the film, but every line he has just has that classic Hollywood feel to it. He's kind of funny, but he's flamboyant enough that he could never be gay in a 1965 film. But if it was made today, yeah, he definitely would be the gay character in this. So yeah, and there's not a whole lot of. There's no real bad guys in this film, unless you count the Nazis. Of course, the Nazis are certainly the bad guys in this, but they have such a small part. This movie is 3 hours long. We get a hint that there's Nazis, the rise of the Nazis, an hour into the film. Just like I said earlier, just one phrase that pretty much solidifies it. And eventually, once the tables sort of turn and we move from the singing and dancing with the children into accepting the kids as letting them have joy and music and everything else, and realizing that there's a romance brewing, that shifts everything again, and only until we reach the point where the inevitable happens with a romance, they dive into a story involving the Nazis in the last 45 minutes of the movie. It feels like a couple different episodes of a TV series. That way it breaks up. It has some really clean cuts, I think, clean breaks. But yeah, the captain is being asked. They're Austria. Germany's moving in and saying, "Hey, you're just like us. Oh, there's nothing going to change in Austria, but you're joining the Third Reich, aren't you? Come on, we're going to give you power and connections, and you're a great captain, so you're going to join us, right?" Well, let's just say the captain is not exactly a sympathizer, so they have to do what they can to get their family out of Austria before the Nazis clamp down. And when you don't, back then, when you didn't follow with the Nazis, let's just say you didn't live very long, no matter who you were, even no matter how Austrian you may have been. So I've told you most of the film already. Most of people in the world have already seen this thing, but those of you who have not, well, you've had about 80 years. I don't know, it's not 80 years, but 35, 50, 57 years. 57 years? Yeah. But if you are a person who can handle musicals, there's a lot of people who are just like, oh, musicals, I don't want to do that. I'm just too manly or whatever. I say give it a shot. And I honestly, if you haven't seen this, I mean, this is a historic piece of filmmaking. Not just, I mean, some of they're using. It's on the scale, those big, Ben-Hur and Cleopatra kind of things, but with a musical set in Austria. The camera work is very 1960s. The camera sits in one spot, but there's moments that I realize may not have been very common in 1965. They move backward through a shot while Maria is walking through, I guess, the train station, or it's just, there's a big wide boom shots which are probably done on a stage, not necessarily out there, but out in a real location. There's a lot going on in this camera wise. It just looks gorgeous, and it's the kind of thing that directors today, I think, would probably try to mimic, but with today's technology. And today's technology, they would just create a whole digital thing and probably put them in there if they can't afford to actually get the location. These days, I don't know if you can. I don't know if it's exactly the same. I don't know if you could really clear out this area the way they may have done with a lot of the city scenes in Austria. So, yeah, I don't know if it really was shot in Austria, but it makes me think it was, because some of the statues and fountains and buildings are. It's easier just to shoot there than to make some place look like it. So, yeah, visually it's gorgeous. Music, of course, everything's a classic. It's just worth singing along, if you know. I think there is a sing-along version here on Disney Plus. We may find that at some point. But yeah, highly recommend it. I'm surprised I waited this long. I just needed an excuse, and this Disney Plus Everyday Challenge was my excuse. I had a girlfriend who was really into musicals for a time, and every time we'd meet up, hang out, and snuggle on the couch and watch a musical. I don't remember too much of those musicals, and I'm pretty sure we didn't see this one, because 3 hours, I would have seen some of it, I guess. No. Anyway. Yeah, don't read into that. Anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
110.
110. Gotta listen to her say it. 110. Okay. After a 3-hour movie, I was thinking to myself, I really would like some shorts. A short, or a series of shorts, or whatever it is. Well, I got my wish. We are going to be watching Doc McStuffin's shorts. Now, there are shorts also by Doc McStuffin's right under this called The Doc Is In. Those are not the ones. There's like a bunch of different sets of shorts with Doc McStuffin's. These are just Doc McStuffin's shorts. It's a series. I don't know how long they are. I have a feeling I'm going to be able to figure out what this thing is all about in like one, maybe two. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, that's what we're watching. The Doc McStuffin shorts in the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.